Cannot out-Palestinian an actual Palestinian.
I'm actually thankful that you're calling me a Zionist.
How about a Nazi?
I'm a Palestinian from Gaza.
I'm a Jewish American.
We both want a prosperous future for our people. Ask us anything.
Why Jews and Palestinians cannot get along? Forget about everybody else.
We cannot forget about everybody else.
There's nobody going against the Jews and nobody going against Palestinians.
Unfortunately, that's not true right now. People are actually that are not Jewish or not Palestinian are actually causing hate.
There's a vicious cycle, and we want to break out of this vicious cycle. There really is a different pathway forward. For example, 20% of Israel's population are Palestinians or Arabs or folk who are not of Jewish heritage. A lot of them are lawyers, a lot of them are doctors. Coexistence is absolutely possible.
Do you think it's right what Hamas did?
Absolutely not. Hamas is holding 2.3 million Palestinians in Gaza hostage. Palestinians, not Israelis. They're holding 59 Israeli hostages who should have never been there in the first place.
Yeah, I understand the perspectives. The thing that bothers me is the casualties.
A casualty in any war of any people is terrible, right? That's something we can all agree on. What I have a hard time with, and Ahmed does speak about this a lot, is that Hamas hides within their civilians. That's why war is so difficult. And this war specifically, I think, is even more complicated than ever because you are dealing with a terrorist organization.
Hamas, they, by design, by definition, integrate their infrastructure throughout the Gaza Strip. Hamas will beat and jail and torture people who ask, hey, I don't want this tunnel shaft near my home.
What caused Hamas to be so tyrannical?
They went from this tiny group of nothing all of a sudden to one being propped up by billions of dollars from the Islamic Republic of Iran.
So much money was put into them, yet nothing went to the actual people of Gaza and to build it what it should have been.
Gaza could have been the pride and joy of the Palestinian people.
Most of the people in Gaza were driven there out of their homes in what is now called Israel.
We're talking about 70 years later. We have been told that we're in this refugee purgatory, if you will. Why wasn't a Palestinian state established between 1948 and 1967?
You're a collaborator.
How am I a collaborator?
The Palestinians don't want to have anything to do with the Zionists.
What do you think a Zionist means?
It means that they have the right to somebody else's land.
No, their ancestral homeland. Have you ever been to Israel?
No.
So I've been about 5 times this past year. I think you should go before you make a comment like that because it is the ancestral homeland of the Jewish people. Also, Palestinians have a right to live there peacefully.
Pick out the Zionists.
I'm actually thankful that you're calling me a Zionist.
How about a Nazi?
My grandparents are Holocaust survivors, so to call me a Nazi, I think that makes no sense. They would be ashamed of me?
Yeah, you're backing genocidal regime.
It's not a genocidal regime, actually, at all. What right do you feel like you have to talk about this conflict versus somebody who was born in Gaza and Palestinian, someone who's Jewish, who's been to Israel several times and has Israeli family? How do you feel you know more than we do?
Are you Palestinian?
I'm Irish.
Yes, you're Irish. Do you read Arabic? Do you have contacts in Gaza right now who are telling you Hamas is conducting warfare in a way that is putting their lives at risk? They want an end to the theft of all the aid that is coming in that Hamas then takes.
Hamas steals the aid.
I lost 33 of my immediate and extended family members. You cannot out-Palestinian an actual Palestinian who has experienced the consequences of Hamas's armed resistance. I've been here in this country by myself since 16. I got political asylum because of Hamas's control, in which they killed 1,000 Palestinians in a day. I bet you didn't know anything about that.
Yeah, do you know that Hamas murders their own people?
A day. Hamas threw them from the top of roof buildings because they were collaborators, because they worked with the Zionists.
That's genocide.
That's not Nazism. that's not genocidal, right?
That's self-defense.
Oh my God.
From the
Does the Israelis pay you? Is it 30 pieces of
Oh,
silver?
here we go. I'm so glad he said that.
I mean, can there ever be opposition to Hamas terrorism? Can there ever be a Palestinian that opposes violence against Israelis without being paid by the Israelis?
No.
Even though you can attack Hamas, it's hard to directly attack the ideology.
People are a product of their environment. I looked the other day at a poll from 95 that showed 85% of Palestinians in Gaza supported the peace process with Israel. I see the potentiality of that happening, but we need to weaken Hamas. There's a false narrative that Hamas is resistance that's a response to oppression. And I think Hamas is a far more nefarious, deadly menace to the Palestinian people first and foremost.
But what do you think the best solution is?
Hamas has to be disarmed. We have to demilitarize. They have to stand down.
as a Gazan myself as well, what can we as Gazans do to solve the issue?
Until Hamas ends their control, until they release the hostages, the people of Gaza are never going to be free and live a prosperous life that they deserve.
Yeah.
How can they change when that's all they know?
If there's new leadership and new school systems, I believe that the future of Gazans will not have hate inside of them.
Certainly.
Everybody should just love people.
So many people are scared to have conversations. They don't even want to speak to someone else that they think has a different opinion. Learning from each other, finding some kind of common ground, agree to disagree. And at the end you'll see we're actually more alike than we think. The news is showing all Palestinians hate Israelis, all Israelis hate Palestinians, and there's never going to be peace. But that's not the case.
Israelis are here to stay. Palestinians are here to stay. We're both here to stay.
What you are sharing, we cannot hear it in the mainstream media.
I know.
It's pro-Palestinian or pro-Israeli.
You could be pro-Palestine and pro-Israel.
Yes.
Without that having to be an inherent opposition.
What you guys are doing is incredible and amazing, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming by. Thank you.
I hope we all get together just
Yes.
as possible.
Congratulations for your work, and I hope we're gonna be in peace soon.
Thank you. Thank you for coming through.
As you can see, having these conversations aren't always easy.
But they are necessary and entirely possible,
So let's hope for a future where this becomes the norm.
not the exception.